actually a very important part of our life.
The problem with stress is that it's not meant to be felt all the time. So as a teenager and as growing up, there are a lot of things that your brain perceives as super stressful and scary, but really aren't life-threatening. They're really very manageable if we have the right tools and we view them in the right way. So we're going to talk about a couple of different ways that you can reduce the stress in your life and deal with it in a healthy way, and ways that you can calm yourself down in a stressful situation so that your life becomes more enjoyable on the whole.
Okay, so the first one is to actually understand the situation. Notice and name the feelings you're feeling, and then try and learn more about why you're feeling it and articulate what's happening. Back to our car, when we were on that side of the highway, we were able to articulate our situation and understand what's happening so that our bodies didn't go into that fight or flight mode.
What happens sometimes in a stressful situation is that people choose to ignore it. This is like a terrible, terrible idea. You need to realize and accept that you're in a stressful situation. So say you had a broken arm and you just ignored it. That's not going to make it better, and oftentimes makes it worse. Just in general, in stressful situations with a broken arm, it definitely makes it worse. So, it'll just sit there and you'll be like, ow, that hurts, but like you won't admit that to yourself, and then it'll continue to get worse over time. And not admitting that you're in a stressful situation, that you need help, will also make it so the problem is prolonged longer than it needs to.
But when you ignore it, you're just kind of shutting it all down and like cramping it, and your body is still going through that same, it's still giving you adrenaline, it's still using up your energy, but you're choosing not to accept that you're in a stressful situation, so you don't have a healthy and capable, you don't have an outlet to let that adrenaline go. It just stays in your body, which makes it so you get sick way faster because your immune system becomes worse because your body, and it just uses up so much energy, you're going to be always tired.
Okay, as Camilla mentioned a little bit ago, an outlet for relieving and processing stress is something that is very needed in life. So one outlet that works great is talking about it or writing things down. So when we were broken down on the side of the highway, we couldn't really write anything down, but we did take time to talk to each other and to reassure and go through different situations with the younger girls to make it so it wasn't super stressful. So usually in most situations, there is oftentimes someone who knows more than you about that situation. So like with our car, we had an uncle who was very good with cars, and so we were able to call him up and we're like, yo, what's wrong? And making weird clinking noises, like really weird. And he was like, oh, it sounds like your engine's dead. And so he was able to help us through that. Most situations, that is especially a new situation for you, there are people who know more, and it's a good idea to seek those people out, especially if they're like close to you, because then it's
like
not
your parents.
awkward. Your parents, your grandparents, your uncles,
older
your aunts,
sisters.
your siblings. The second thing that we would recommend you doing is to practice a positive attitude or reframing. Reframing something. So right here, that could have just been viewed as me trampling on her and killing her talents.
Or me trying to steal her spotlight. But Talia instead decided
just interpreted it as her wanting to help me because I don't know what I'm doing. So like, yay.
So that was an example of reframe.
Yes. So reframing is a concept is when you go into a situation and you first see it, like we've talked about with the car, as something that's terrible, like how are we going to figure this out? And then you kind of take a step back from the situation and try and look at it from a different perspective.
The other part of this is having a positive attitude. So some people are just kind of naturally positive, so this is easier for them, and they can just go out of a situation and just kind of naturally just do that.
Both of these tools are good things that kind of relate to each other that you can do in a stressful situation to make it so it doesn't seem so stressful. And for me, what really helps me is it makes it so it's not so all-encompassing and not so overwhelming.
Yeah.
So this brings us to our last thing to do to help when you're in a stressful situation, which is taking action.
One way to do that, because if you're sitting there I don't know how to make this better, is to then think about, okay, what do I find stressful about the situation? Then you can look at those and be like, okay, but
what can I do to reduce
what can
that
I
stress?
do to solve these problems? Are there ways, and even if you can't solve it, but just make it a little bit less stressful, that still helps your body.
And it can help your brain process it in a different way when it just perceives it a little bit different because you change the situation a little
And
bit.
since our brains are wired to solve problems, that's just something our brains like to do, then you're presenting your brain with something that it can tackle. So it looks at that and it's like, okay, I can figure this out. Yeah, and so it's less overwhelming, and then your brain will be more capable of just trying to solve the issue.
In summary, we're just gonna go over some of the points we talked about today so that
Just
you
in
can
case
remember
you're confused.
and that you can try and implement them in your life.
So understanding the situation. Number 2
is to reframe. I just stole that from her. Or like have a positive attitude. Try to have a positive attitude.
Number 3 is to take action. If this has been helpful to you, like and share so that it can be helpful to other people. And
if there's anything else that you would like to learn from older sisters, please let us know in the comments.